So today we're talking about some of the great cooperative purchases that we've made off some NASPO ValuePoint cooperative purchasing contracts. These are great contracts. We're getting a lot of wins and how we're using them, and we're using some contracts that maybe typically aren't used by fleet managers and fleet operations. So lately we've been trying to think outside the box and get creative. We've been using the wireless contract, the cellular contract, namely Sprint, to get access to telematics units that we're putting on. We've installed about 1,100 units so far, and we're really starting to see some great wins there. Also, we're using the enterprise rental car contract, which may seem counterproductive for fleet operations to be outsourcing some of their work. But this has really helped us provide a solution to our agencies that can expand and contract as the need arises, instead of staffing too many vehicles for that one chance or that one time that we need a lot of cars. So telematics are kind of like GPS units on steroids. That's how I like to explain it to people. They do course location, they do speed, they do the typical GPS type stuff, but they're also plugged into the car's computer. And so you start to get maintenance records, you can keep track of how their fuel is, their idling, how they're driving the vehicle, engine codes, diagnostic codes, all kinds of information. And that's what we're most excited about, is watching the cost for maintenance go down, watching the safety of our drivers go up, and just all the savings that comes with that. Telematics is fleet management the best possible. It can give you the information that you've never had before to do the things that you've needed to do and never could because you didn't have the right information. I think a great example of that, besides, just tracking if they're speeding, which they are, and other things, is saving money on maintenance, saving money on fuel. Simple things like watching if they're just sitting in their car idling. You can do that now. You can say, hey, this group of 120 people 2 months ago, they were idling 360 hours a month. That's a lot of idling. That's somebody sitting in a car, right? Hopefully they're sitting in the car, right? And it's just not running on the side of the road. When we installed the telematics, we could track that. Then we turned on a little beeper to say, hey, you've been 3 minutes in the car idling. It's time to do something, and it just beeps until they move. That took it from 360 hours down to 60 hours. Simple thing. And now we've reduced 300 hours of idling. That's money right back in their pocket, and actually everybody's happy with that. Another cooperative purchasing contract that we participate in that maybe isn't your standard fleet contract is the rental car contract through NASPO ValuePoint. In particular, we partnered with Enterprise Rental Car. And we have this situation of utilization, and in the fleet world, everybody knows that problem, right? Everything is mostly utilized. How do you judge utilization? The people writing the checks, the legislature, everybody thinks that you're underutilized. Everybody that's driving the cars and manages the workflow think they need more cars. It's a constant battle, right? If you really dive into it, which I think we have, you realize that some of the time you need a lot of cars, some of the time you don't need a lot of cars. How do you handle that? When you're buying cars or leasing cars, you have to try and guess and then use staff to what? The average or the peak or the valley? What kind of car do you, if it snows in Utah, which it typically does, then you need a four-wheel drive, but it doesn't snow every day in Utah, so then what do you do on the other days, right? So these are all issues that we've been working on. Well, we partnered with Enterprise through this contract in NASPO ValuePoint, and we said, hey, what if we could set up these little mini rental agencies on site?
So Enterprise Rent-A-Car and National Car Rental are preferred providers for the state of Utah under the NASPO ValuePoint contract. We have built a strong relationship over the last 10 plus years as a more than just a provider, but really as a consultant for the state to look at, other than just your typical business rental needs, looking at state needs in a lot other areas, which has led us to this on-demand motor pool by Enterprise program. Just overall, we've built a great partnership with the state of Utah to provide ground transportation solutions for whatever ground transportation needs come up. With this on-demand motor pool program by Enterprise that we partnered with the state of Utah to do, we basically worked with the state fleet department to look at approximately 7,000 vehicles and start to target specific areas, specific departments, specific pools of vehicles across the state, and find an opportunity to help the state reduce their costs with their fleet of vehicles and create some efficiencies and basically make the use of vehicles better for some of the state employees. One of the things that we've done with that is just taking a look at a lot of the older vehicles and taking them out of the fleet. And then because of the way we run our business with newer vehicles and rotating our fleet very quickly, the employees of the state that are using this program are actually liking it better because they're driving newer, cleaner, better miles per gallon vehicles, cleaner for the environment, just overall newer and better vehicles. The service level that they get because of the types of vehicles we provide compared to the older vehicles that the state had, they're getting a better service and they're enjoying their trip better.
So we started down this path and word started getting out and a lot of agencies started asking about it. In particular, our Region 4 for our Department of Transportation in central to southern Utah.
We've also been able to open a location in Richfield, Utah, which, if you know much about Utah, is a pretty small part of the state. There wasn't enough business for us to open a retail, a full-on enterprise location. There also wasn't enough business for us to do a standalone state of Utah location. So we combined those two locations, those two ideas in two types of business, and made it a viable business for enterprise to open in the market. So the benefit to the employees is great in that area, but it also gave us a benefit to the community. That community needed a car rental solution, and now that we were able to work with the state to come up with a solution, the state, the employees and the community of Richfield has the ability to rent cars a lot more conveniently now.
They're providing a service that the citizens like, and they're reducing costs and providing a service to the UDOT folks. Now, because this is a cooperative statewide contract in Utah, it's now eligible, the cities and counties are eligible to use the contract as well. So now we have the city council, the mayor's office, people that need that flexibility are able to use this as well. And it's branched out into the smaller areas because now we have a central hub that can feed those areas. So very exciting news, great win for the Department of Transportation folks in fleet operations. So one of the things that I'd like to talk about to tie this all into cooperative purchasing and why I think it's been a win for us is we've tried telematics in the past. We went out for RFP on our own. As in all government, we went with the low bid, and because we're the giant state of Utah, we got the best pricing possible, which means we paid a little bit more for probably a lower standard product. And it just didn't work. It didn't meet our needs. It didn't have all the bells and whistles, and sometimes we even wondered about the integrity of the data, which meant the solution, we couldn't trust it, we couldn't use it. It wasn't doing what we needed it to do. Looking in the industry and best practices, this is where the market's going, and we wanted one of those top-end solutions. But there's a cost with doing a large RFP, right? There's a cost with not having as much volume as you could. If you can combine volume, you can get better pricing that way. And we wanted the best terms and conditions covering us. So luckily for us, the state of Utah already participated in the NASPO ValuePoint wireless contract. So we found two options already on contract, two great options already on contract with stellar terms and conditions and great pricing, which meant that whole first part was done for us. All we had to do is choose which one we thought would best meet our needs. So we got the national terms and conditions on one of the biggest contracts probably in the world, at least in the wireless sector. And we have cutting edge technology at a price that we can afford. It's everything that we wanted with little to no effort on our part.